Hello, and welcome to Twin Study After Dark. I'm your host, Sallie, joined by my co-host, Katie. We're identical twin sisters. We invite you to join us as we investigate our similarities and differences in all things life has to offer. Hello, and welcome to Twin Study After Dark. I'm your host, Sallie.
And I'm your other host, Katie.
Okay, so today we are recording from Sallie's location. It looks a little different, but we are just switching it up. I had Katie bring all the stuff over here, and I'm hoping you don't hear our dogs in the background. But anyway, I wanted to just say, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
So today, for everybody that's listening, it is election day. The day that we're recording is election day.
Yep.
So we're kind of doing this to stay busy. I was very fortunate. I've been very anxious about this election, and my anxiety kind of started last week, and yesterday it was heightened. I didn't sleep well, and this morning I woke up and felt anxious as well. But we found a dog on our way to school, and that took over most of my morning. So I was actually, I think the dog was sent from heavens to be keep her busy so she's not stressed out.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we found the owner. The owner actually lived pretty close to where we found the dog, so it kind of felt like I kidnapped somebody's dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I woke up and I dropped my son off at school. It's picture day for him. And then I went and I voted. And everybody was like, why'd you wait till voting day to
I
vote?
don't understand why
Nobody
you do that.
understands. It's tradition. I go on voting day every time.
No, I'm afraid of mass amounts of people, especially and a day like today. I don't want to be near people.
Well, that's what everybody at work kept saying too. It's like, we want the vote to go one way, but if it doesn't, or if it does, in both scenarios, we're scared.
Yeah, I think everybody, despite who you're voting for, feels anxious today.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
It would be so relieving to have a voting season where everybody felt good
about the candidates.
Yeah,
or even if it was you usually vote Democrat, you usually vote Republican, but both are good options,
right?
Then you're okay, well, at least they're steady minded or something like that. But we haven't had that in our adulthood.
I don't know. I beg to differ.
Ooh.
Maybe.
You've had two good candidates in your adulthood.
I could see there used to be
are you talking about 18 years old?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say I could see.
Okay.
It wasn't my preference, but I could see the person per paper was qualified.
Okay, so I was asking my dad this because obviously he's been alive longer than us. And I was like, have elections always been this scary? Have politics always been something that literally causes fear and anxiety? And he was like, it was never this bad.
Yeah.
He was like, it wasn't. Because I think you used to have certain criteria to run, and that isn't the case.
It's so weird. It's like the parties have given up. Because
they didn't even pick the best ones.
It should be there's a lot of qualified people and it's hard to become the candidate, because there's so many people that are qualified and can do the job and blah, 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 blah. You would think, but it's the opposite.
I don't know. I just know if there was somebody that was very, very qualified and steady-minded, it wouldn't matter the party. I'm not somebody who has to stick to a party. If they were saying things that I liked for my lifestyle, I would switch. I would go either way. But for this case, this election, yeah, I am feeling pretty particular in one side, so it's just hard. And it's hard to stay grounded and stay respectful because everybody's from a different walk of life. But I definitely, the last thing I want to do is further divide the nation. I'm done with that. I'm done with that talk. I don't want any of that.
Totally.
So that's why I was I don't think we need to say, but I do think everyone's stressed today.
Yeah.
Anywho, I was reading online. There was an article, and I think I saw it multiple places. But do you remember when we first had kids? And there was a long article, and it was very, very popular to say this.
Okay.
you need to put your marriage in front of your children because your marriage is the foundation of your family. So
Uh-huh.
you need to prioritize this relationship to better do your children,
Yeah.
right. And so that was really popular probably 5 years ago. And I
It's
remember
probably still
it probably
popular.
is. So listen, and I remember kind of like getting it. Like I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, whatever.
Mhm.
But lately there has been a girl that posted on TikTok and she's getting backlash where she says your kids need to come before your marriage. And I want to ask you, this is a debatable topic.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think your marriage needs to come first or do you think your kids come first? Because I can explain her reasonings behind it, but I kind of want to get your feedback first.
Yeah. I think that I understand one's perspective that a marriage should come first, especially like certain types of relationships where they really feel like in their faith, like their priority is their partner, husband, or whatnot, like serving that person.
Oh my god.
Um,
So you think that's okay
no,
though?
no, no, but like I understand that some people feel that way.
Mhm.
I think that once you have children, in my opinion, most parents would acknowledge that the children come first.
Okay, can I be personal for a second?
Yeah.
So when you first had your son,
Mhm.
I remember this article came out and I remember you guys lived by this. You were like, we need to prioritize our marriage. We need to go on all these date nights, type
We
thing.
were
We need to be healthy together before we can focus on our kids.
and that's another thing I was going to say is funny because it didn't work out.
So, okay,
So, but no, but the thing is we had to we did everything. We really did. Like we did everything we could to try to fix our relationship. And I really mean everything.
no, okay, so my point is though, is that first of all, if a relationship is toxic, there is no amount of trying to put you guys first that's going to save it.
Oh my gosh, no.
So I want to say that first. Second of all, I remember thinking, oh, that's a really good sentiment when we first had kids because we were barely seeing we weren't doing dates anymore.
We weren't bonding.
Right? We
Yeah.
weren't bonding like we used to. But I actually do agree with the TikToker. I believe that kids come first. And I want to tell you why. So, first of all, I think that when you're in a healthy marriage, you do not need all of those date nights and focused energy to put your marriage first because naturally you're both putting your family first and you can discuss and have conversations about how this is like a blip in your lifetime where you're not going to have the same
It's just
fire as you had before. Also, let's be practical. You brought kids into the world. Did you really think your life was going to stay the same?
well, I also but that again, the individuals that go in strong as a partnership and they make that decision together, they are better off acknowledging this is a season we're choosing. We're choosing we're going to be home more. We're choosing we're going to spend time with the family. We're going to be with the kids. We're going to, put the kids first. A lot of people, I mean, at least in my case, one of us really wanted to have a child and the other one was like on the fence. So when the child came in, it was a lot of adjustment that he didn't really necessarily understand the change that was going to happen to our relationship. But I think we weren't unusual.
No,
I think a lot of people
Yeah.
go through that.
Yeah.
But, and since, of course, he's a really good father, but it wasn't really like two people making this choice together.
Yeah. I was just thinking though that yeah, when you are in a solid foundation, I do think that you feel more confident saying no, you would put the kids first because you're both grown as adults. How I look at it as Adam and I chose to be together. We're choosing to be together.
Yeah.
Okay, so we chose to also bring kids into this world and become parents. So we knew that there were going to be life changes.
Yeah.
Your kids didn't choose shit. And for the first 5 years, supposedly they're gaining their attachment style. So if you have to put the focus more on I had listened to a podcast this week and it was actually Nick Viall.
Yeah.
And there was a girl on there asking for relationship advice, and she was saying that they don't get to, her and her husband don't really get to sleep together because they're bed sharing, and one shares with like one of the kids and the other shares with another.
Mhm.
And he was like, well, is there days that you guys can stop doing that so you can get that intimacy? And she was like, yeah, I guess we can do that. But to me, I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm just comfortable with the knowing that you only get to bed share for so long. Like your kids are going to grow up, and
Yeah.
yeah, it means like sometimes you're having sex in the bathroom while the kids like are sleeping. I don't know. Like yes, you have a lot of like quickies and stuff like
But
that, but like
it's also
it's a
some of that
phase.
you just, because it's hard to like comment on it now because we are parents, and now I'm like, it seems like common sense. But I'm currently, my partner currently isn't not a parent, and sometimes, like with my ex, I don't understand if non-parents really do get it. Like what really changes, how much it changes. And I don't think that it needs to change for the negative. If you both are making that choice together, I think it can change for the positive. It's building a family. It's
Yeah.
like a different bond than you've had in the
It's
past.
a different life.
It's totally different,
Yeah.
but you can't expect and want the old life back.
And also I just think the mindset of like put your marriage first, it sounds so great. And I think there are moments where like you can be like, we really need a date night. But I remember the first year when we first became parents, we adopted our oldest daughter. We literally, me and my husband, we were in a secure relationship. We actually didn't want date nights. I remember like people would like force us. They'd be like, you guys need to go out. And then we come back like 45 minutes later and they'd be like, why'd you come back so soon? Like we literally just wanted to be in like seriously with our baby. Like that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
So I think it looks different for everybody, but I know 100% what works for like one family, what's I guess putting your partner first or putting your kid first. Sometimes I think all of it is putting your family
Well,
first.
too, I've seen people approach it that way, and I really envy them because I think that's a sign of a secure relationship. Like they'd rather be home with the children, but also with each other. But I also think that when I look back to my experience, and speaking on my behalf, on my experience, when we were prioritizing our relationship because it was falling apart and we were trying to fix it while we had an infant, I don't even think the time together, obviously, it didn't save it.
I don't think it
I
can.
don't think it could have. And I honestly think that what we should have done is spent alone time. Like, if we needed time, it should have been alone time, learning how to be happy individually, because us continuing that pattern of like thinking that us going out together would get us closer was just delusion.
It was honestly just I feel like yeah, I don't know. I think you guys were really trying to like put yourselves first. But yeah, just if it's so toxic, it just can't
Well,
work.
and also we weren't taking care of each other, so there's not a bond that was strengthening. Like,
Yeah.
and the taking care of your partner sometimes means, like, especially after a woman has given birth, that she needs to, take a walk or go to that exercise routine that she gets maybe 30 minutes a day of,
Or just like sitting down and chatting
or
like
chatting with
yeah.
other moms, or
Yeah.
like, and
I think it's a lot to ask any new parent, moms or dads.
to take care of each other
It's so much.
during that time.
I mean, you do because but you have to understand you're both in the thick of it.
Yeah, you're in
Like
the
you
thick of it.
have to understand, and you also have to remember, like the enemy is not like yourself, each other. You want to work together as a team. It's just this new adjustment to life that you guys can tackle together. And I think some people find, I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting, but
There has to be the reminder that it's such a short period of time.
I think when we were struggling with it, it was our first kids
Mhm.
where I was like, maybe we do need more time together. But now, since we're a couple years out of that baby phase, I see that those date nights do come back. And I see
Yeah.
that those days together, like where the kids are actually out playing with their friends, like you do get time back. So, like,
Yeah.
it's not like if you can just look at your marriage as like, this is a blip in our marriage, it's it's not the same, but you guys can love each other through it and find, like,
And
peace with that.
try to find, and some people it's very natural for, but try to look at your partner and find the respect for them for what they are doing for the family,
Yeah.
and like what they are doing for your child, and know that again, it's such a short period of time. If I could tell anybody,
Yeah.
it goes by so fast. It seems like it's long when you're not sleeping, but looking back, it I barely remember it.
Well, I also, like, I think this goes hand in hand with kind of that sentiment of, like, put yourself first. Um, I don't know why, but somehow this feels connected. I think because I think it's pretty, like, um, maybe patriarchal. I can't say patriarchy. Like, it's very, like, man-made, or like, even like maybe like religiously made, that you need to, like, have sex multiple times a week to, like, basically uphold your marriage.
I mean, that might be even just culturally, like if you think
Yeah,
about like Cosmo and all the
yeah.
magazines that give you a number to aim towards or whatnot.
So I was just thinking of that because I feel like when we wanted to stay home all the time, but people were like being like, you need to go out and go on dates with each other and put each other first. That actually mindset really messed with us because it's not naturally what we wanted to do. And I think the same with like having sex after you have a baby. Like people were like, you're gonna like be back and running, like having sex all the time. But I remember like my postpartum lasted a long time, and I don't think people are honest enough about like how many times they have sex in, like, a month or a
But
week.
there's people that get pregnant 6 weeks postpartum,
Yeah.
and I'm like, girl, like I could not get back into it that quick.
How do you feel, and I think I know your answer, but how do you feel about, like, when they're like, "You owe your partner this," like, if he doesn't get it from you, he's gonna get it from somewhere else?
I think that's
Do you think you owe your partner
hell no.
any of that?
No, are you
Okay.
kidding me?
Well, I don't know because
Um,
some people think that's, like, part of
I
marriage.
know I don't. I do think that a healthy relationship has intimacy, and but I absolutely hell no, we don't owe each other anything. Like
Yeah.
we owe each other respect. Like, but the respect that if I'm not feeling it or he's not feeling it, that we're like, okay, like again, this is just a season.
Yeah.
It doesn't last forever.
100%. I think that, like, that's what we need to tell people is, like, you go through seasons in relationships, and
Yeah.
you're in a different season right now because you're dating currently,
Yeah.
but, like, marriage, like, being married to my husband or whatever, I think now we're going on 8 years? I don't even know. Are we at 7? I
I
don't
don't
know
even
because we
know
were together
now.
obviously for, like,
Yeah.
almost 10 years. I don't know. But anyway, I remember hearing that all the time, like, "Oh, you have to have sex, like, at least twice a week, at least once a week," and I remember it being really hard, like, to want to right after having kids.
I do have to say though, in contrast with my ex, we would go 6 months without being intimate.
Wow.
And I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. When we got pregnant, it's because we made the decision that I was going to have a baby.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I need a child.
Yeah.
And it was so, but the thing is, I didn't trust him and I didn't. So, there are so many things I could say about this, but there was no way to be intimate with him where I felt safe.
Safe. Yeah.
So again, if it's that rare, then maybe just take the signs as the signs.
I True. Yeah, because I think, like, again, if it's a healthy situation,
Yeah.
usually, like, you want to be
If
intimate
you
at
feel safe with your partner, it's just natural. It's going to happen
well, I mean, some
eventually.
people have trauma and stuff, so
Yeah.
you work through that,
Yeah.
obviously, you need to work through
Yeah.
that, but no, I mean, I do wanna normalize that, though, because there's some times where literally the time I got pregnant with my son, I knew we only had sex twice that month, so I was like, "I know exactly when he was conceived,"
Yeah.
and I wanna normalize that, like, because I think people aren't honest about it and they feel guilty when they're in a group full of women and they're all like, "Yeah, we have sex 3 times a week." And you're like, "That's crazy. We only had sex twice this month." And some people go even longer, but I do wanna
Yeah.
normalize that, and it's because I I
It's
do
also normal to have sex 3 times a week and then not have sex the next week.
exactly,
You know,
yes.
like, we really
That like
she's
ebbs
probably
and flows.
ovulating that
Yeah. Oh
week.
my god. Yeah. When I'm ovulating,
Yeah.
I'm like, I look amazing. I
Yeah,
feel
feel
amazing.
great,
And
yeah.
like, for instance, I'm about to get my period, and I was just telling a friend this: the soreness in my boobs before my period.
Yeah.
It's so sore, and like my back's all crampy. Like Adam last night was like, I couldn't sleep. Like I said, I was having anxiety. He's like, "Do you want to cuddle?" And I was like, Adam, I hurt so much. My whole body. I can't even like if you touch it, it hurts.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's normal. Like it's normal to be like, no, I don't want intimacy right now. Or like sometimes you just can't get enough.
I do like, whenever I go through moments in time where we're not necessarily having sex, we're always touching. Like, we're always
Mm.
intimate in a way where, like, we're affectionate. We give each other hugs and kisses and whatnot. But we are so busy, and the people that have sex on a regular basis 3 times a week or more, power to you, because I just feel like, when do you have the time?
No, okay. But you're dating, so that's even different.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I was dating Adam, granted we were younger, there were no kids involved.
Yeah.
It was insane. We were like rabbits. Like we would have sex like 4
You
times a
were
day.
also much younger.
Yes. And like that comparison of like, oh my God, we used to be like that. And now we're like this. I can't even make up how tired children make me at the end of the day. Like again, like
Yeah.
I don't
Like you
have the
said,
energy.
sometimes you're just touched out.
Yeah, like
Like, you've
I'm just
been
like I
carrying
don't want
babies all
any,
day.
but I do think there's like a safeness of like being married and being like, I know they're gonna come back. Like we're not gonna get like we're not gonna break up type thing. Whereas like you're still dating, so I guess that could be like a fight that you have
I
maybe.
don't know.
Like
Like,
you don't have sex with me enough, like or something like that. I don't know.
maybe, yeah, I could see that being the case, but if that was a real fight, that would be such a red flag for me.
Oh
I
God,
would be
yeah.
like, and we're done.
Yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
just like get with reality. Like, we're adults here. I
Yeah.
was gonna say though, when it comes to a partner that maybe isn't feeling it, one thing that would have helped me after having my child get me back into the mood would have been like stuff that's really simple, like watching the baby so I could shower or something,
Okay.
like, I'm just saying that,
yeah.
with new moms out there that are just like not quite ready yet, the partner has to step up and be like, the woman has to feel good about herself to want to do that.
But also, though, I don't even think that's enough all the time because my husband was super supportive. He was like stepping up to the plate and helping me out and taking nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we just didn't have the energy or time to sit down and have emotional connected, like conversations.
So you didn't feel connected.
So I didn't feel connected.
Yeah.
I know that like me and Adam have talked about how he needs to have sex to feel connected and then speak up, and I need him to talk to me and us have good genuine conversations to even be in the mood. We want the same thing but different ways.
That's so true though.
Yeah.
Like, if you can have an intellectual conversation with a woman, I guarantee she'll take you to bed.
It just makes her feel more comfortable, like,
Yeah.
and like that's how we receive love. Like I don't know if that's a love language. Like I need intelligent conversation, but especially like when you're a stay-at-home mom and you're at home with kids all day. Like I don't want the first thing to do, like when Adam comes home, I'm not like I'm gonna jump his bones. I'm like, can you talk to me? Like I want to actually like talk about things, and then I feel connected again. That's how I get connected. And that just wasn't always happening back in the grind of having a first time newborn.
Yeah.
Because like you're walking around like a living zombie.
So we both kind of agree. I understand why people say you have to put your relationship first, because your child needs two healthy parents, but I do believe that putting your relationship first is a lot of allowing you and your partner to do what you need to do to feel whole, and that could be alone time. And I also think that in the end, if you're a good parent, most parents are going to put their children first.
I also think like it's a red flag if you're with somebody and they're like, you need to put me first still. It's like, dude, I don't have time to put you first. We just made this child. Like
that just sounds
that seems like a man child.
That's what I was gonna say, like a man baby.
And I think the men that like complain about like we need to have sex all the time, that's also a man child. Like get it together. Like we're just trying to survive sometimes.
Like, go masturbate. Seriously.
Seriously. I think I remember telling Adam that a couple times, like, during those years. Like, I'd be like, "Okay, go touch yourself in the shower." Like, I don't feel like
I
it.
don't care.
Yeah,
Well,
and, like,
yeah.
and that's again, I just wanna normalize this because I think it's common, and women
Mhm.
just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So anywho, okay, yeah, we agree. I think kids come first. I think that establishing communication with your partner is so essential, and also, like, check-ins, like, regular check-ins with each other during that time,
Mhm.
and that's how you can take care of each other. But I do think you guys need, like, I think parents just need to come to an understanding that this is just a temporary thing. Like, we're gonna love each other after this too.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess people might say, like, oh, if you don't put yourself first, like, you're gonna divorce as empty nesters. But again, I don't know if it's because you've gone through a divorce, but I'm so pessimistic. I'm like, if you were gonna fail, you're gonna fail no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think
I
any amount of putting you first is gonna
Yeah,
save it.
I'm a firm believer. Also, too, to prioritize a relationship that much, like, it just doesn't seem worth it to me anymore. Like,
Yeah.
a romantic partnership or a life partnership with a person that you share a child with, of course, it'd be lovely if it lasted forever. But if you're fighting really hard to make it work, I don't know if
It's
you
not that
should be.
hard. I just don't think it's that
It
hard.
shouldn't be like that. Yeah,
No,
like
I think that that was a false narrative growing up with, like, Jersey Shore and
well,
stuff.
the people that I think we've said this before, but the people that say it's us against the world, red flag.
Or if it's like we've like just like the constant, like, I don't know, just like the fights, like all the fights. I just don't think that that's like,
Like the heated, passionate, like
yeah.
people try to I mean, I was like that, where I thought that passion meant we loved each other hard.
Yeah.
Um, and there was something about the low lows and the high highs that was intoxicating, but I'm now on the other side of it, and I can tell you the other side is way better.
Yeah, like the nice, like,
Even flow,
mild,
yeah,
yes,
like
like that's like
yeah.
where true love exists,
Mhm.
and true,
Yeah,
like, understanding. Yeah.
absolutely.
No, I agree. Anyway, we want to hear your feedback. I talked to one of my friends about it earlier, so I, like, kind of know where some parents are, but I do want to say my perspective probably changed. Like, when we were first having kids, I probably thought, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. Put your relationship first." Now that we're into it and I've seen, like, our kids get a little older, I 110% think put your kids first right now. They're only in the house so long. You don't have them, like, that long to, like, really,
Yeah.
like, help them figure out their emotions and regulate those. So I really think, like, it's a grind, but it's a grind we choose, and most of us. And
I also think that the even the notion that your marriage should come before your child or your partnership comes before your child, and this is an opinion of mine, so I'm not saying this is the fact. That grosses me out.
no, that's why I said
Like
it
that
seems like really
it's
forced.
just like
Like, you
that
owe it.
this
Yeah.
system that was created for God knows what reason.
Okay, but here, what do you think about this real quick? What, like, putting yourself first?
I do think that you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I do too.
I think
See,
you
I
need
do
to
too. There's just something
you're
about, like,
but
taking care of
and
the
I think
yeah.
it's each partner's individual responsibility. I know if you have a good partnership, you're going to encourage your partner to take care of themselves, but your child needs a healthy, happy parent.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do to take care of yourself in a healthy way to show up the best you can for your child, you do have to prioritize that.
I know, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
But you should not prioritize. You're taking care of your child. You don't have to take care of your man. Your
yeah.
man takes care of himself.
Yeah, and you guys can, like, take care of each other in ways while you work together as a family.
Exactly.
Like,
Take turns. Like
that's the romantic, beautiful part of,
Mhm.
like, that should bond you closer, I think, once you get married and
Yeah.
have kids. But no, I do agree. I think you take care of yourself first, and I I'm not a fan of anyone being, like, a martyr either. Like, don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't think like everyone's getting breaks except for you. I've been there. So, like, my mindset is really like, you need to control, like, you need to take care of yourself.
You
It
need
is
to
your
also
responsibility. It's not your husband's responsibility or your kid's responsibility. You know what I mean?
you
It's like
have to
yours.
advocate for what you need.
Yeah.
If you need something to be happy, you need to vocalize that.
I think that's hard though because so many people in our generation have grown up people pleasers
Yeah.
that like finding your voice and being like, no, I actually need to go on a walk today without anybody, um, like, and take time for myself or whatever you say you need. That takes actually some learning.
But I had a friend that did check-ins with her partner on Sundays, and every Sunday they'd like journal throughout the week and then they check in with each other, and they're happily married. But I thought that was a really good practice because it was like, what do you need this week to be successful?
Yeah.
And like they would review it together.
I like that they journaled it because sometimes I ask Adam, like, what do you need? Because I'll get what I need. Like, I'll go and work out and I'll be like, okay, what do you need? And he can't think of something on the spot. Like, he's
Well,
like,
it's like
no,
the
I'm fine.
I like that it was on Sundays. It's like the look ahead.
Yeah.
Like look at the week, look at the calendar, and like, what do you need? What do I need? Let's fit it in.
Yeah,
And that's like
exactly.
the partnership. That's the working together.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should start doing that. Because I think for him, it takes him more time to think about it. And like, whereas me, I probably have gotten to a point where I've already like run it through my brain a million
I
times.
will say in the past when I was younger, a relationship seems like it was more organic than it really should be to be successful. Like if it's going to be successful, you kind of do need to make plans and action items and work towards something and treat it more like you treat.
See, I don't think you do.
I think you do.
Oh, I don't know. I think that like,
Are we debating this?
yeah. Oh man.
I'm
Okay.
like,
Well,
treat it like a
next
job.
week. Well, we also like have an ADHD brain, so like if you don't put it on a calendar, it's not getting done.
Mhm.
But no, next week maybe we'll debate that. But no, I don't think that you need to do a lot of planning.
Okay.
I'm firm on like if it's a good thing, it's not going to be a lot of work.
Well, planning isn't always work.
Feels like it to me. Okay, love you guys.
Okay.
Hi everyone, it's Sally. We're going to leave our story there for today and pick up next week on Twin Study After Dark. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, please rate, review, and subscribe. We'll meet again next week for more Twin Studies.